Here we go. Reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
You're logging into your favorite game, grinding out some gear. A couple of points added to your stats, and you have a virtual beer. Max level is pretty cool, but I'll remind you here, my friend. These games are not about the goal, it's about the journey and not the end.
You're listening to MMO Reporter on the MMO Reporter Network, brought to you by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapons with Doghouse Systems. Audible, find your next great read at audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter, and by GoDaddy. Put your website to work while you play.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of MMO Reporter. This is episode 190. Gentlemen, we are 10 away from 200. That is freaking mind-numbing. Of course.
Hang on. Let me get my fingers. You introduce Layanor. Let me think about this for a sec.
Okay, first, from both coasts in the United States and the middle, we have none other than the Minion Master himself, Layanor.
Okay, I'm getting my socks off. I should be able to count this. All right.
And by the way, I have the most wonderful wife ever because she just brought me another drink, so she's awesome. And we have the toe counter himself. Hi, Bill.
Okay, just carry the two inverted on the plane of X. And yes, you're right, Chris. 10 more episodes.
Yes.
Well played.
I'm supposed to drink that. Not breathe it. Oh man, that was dumb.
I was gonna. I'll tell you what I tell my kids: drink goes in drink hole, air goes in air hole.
Oh man. Oh, I feel like an a hole. What? Sorry. Okay, never mind.
I feel like I've just made a T-shirt.
We need to get that Cafe Press store going. Layanor. Yep. Chop. Cafe Press store. Go.
Sir.
All right, hi, we're back. Apparently we've missed podcasting because we're freaking nuts. And we're going to talk about some games because that's what we do. The world has gone crazy and we have been not podcasting last week. Layanor was mid-move. Bill was ill, as was I, and so everything collapsed. And without Harry Hall, the glue that is Harry Hall, it just didn't happen. So we apologize for that. We do want to mention that we'll be streaming coming up usually on Wednesday nights. So we've got some stuff coming up. So you should check that out. Usually 8 o'clock Pacific, 8:30 Pacific or so. Lots of fun stuff that's going to be coming up with that. Before we get to the news, though, because there's a crap ton of interesting news, not necessarily big announcements, but some cool stuff to talk about. Let's get to what we've been doing in game, because that is, I've heard from so many people, Layanor, that this is their favorite part of the show, what we've been doing in game. So why don't you start and tell us about all the awesome things you've been doing?
Cool. I have been playing Lotro. I've gotten back into the moors again and have been playing it for the last couple of days. I am still not 50% into my rank, though. It's going really, really slow. And I know you guys have told me it's going to take forever, but still I can hope.
Yeah, you can hope, but it will take forever.
Yep. The Secret World right now has started up their Halloween event. You can get some outfits and stuff like that. I haven't really looked into it very much, but I jumped into it because they are doing a double AP weekend, which is basically double experience.
Okay.
So I've been grinding, all the quests and all that stuff and just getting all of those skills that I've been wanting for a while. And it's kind of neat, too, that my roommate was telling me that other than the Halloween event that's going on right now, they have, there was a golden event and there was a anniversary event where you could go into any of the areas and hunt down a huge golem and have just a big raid world battle.
Oh, cool.
In areas, and those are all live right now too. So there's a lot of cool things going on right now, and as soon as I get my skills that I want, I might be jumping into some of that stuff.
That sounds, and every time you mention Secret World, I'm like, man, I gotta play that stuff. That sounds like fun. And then like other stuff gets in the way, and other fun stuff. And I know, Bill, you feel exactly the same way, don't you?
Oh, pretty much, yeah. I have a tiered list of stuff that I always play, and I will obviously get into that here shortly. And then I have another tier of stuff that I really want to play, but at any given moment, it doesn't seem to just quite catch the priority of the stuff that's in that tier 1 list.
Yeah.
So I really need to. I actually need to make a physical effort to like delete all the icons for everything on the tier 1 list for me able to dip into tier 2.
And that's kind of the thing, is that we live in a horrible, horrible first world problem of too many games.
Yes,
and the problem is no longer, it's like my kids who come up to me when I won't let them do exactly what they want to do and say, but I have nothing else to do. No, you can't play on the PS3 right now. Do something else. I have nothing else, nothing that I can do. So all those toy boxes and those books and those DSs and the TV and this and that, that's the problem with my Steam list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That and the gripping fear and panic that happens when I try to pick something from it and I log in and think, no, wait, I want to play the other thing. And I spend like an hour and a half loading games and never actually playing anything, because as it's loading, I'm thinking, oh, I really want to play this other game. And then I end up in that other game. Yeah, It's a problem. Sorry, Layanor, I kind of stole your bit.
You guys always do this.
It's what we do.
Tell me you don't deserve it.
Yeah, I deserve it. I deserve everything I deserve.
You do deserve everything you deserve.
I think Secret World, I find a lot of fun with the game, and when you guys listen to me and then you guys kind of jump in, you're in the beginning of the game and you have those starter quests, and it's not so fun. It's cool and everything, but it's nothing like chasing golems down through areas and stuff. So I think that's what basically it is.
So really, it's a poor early game design.
Yeah, you guys are newbies.
Okay, so it's our fault.
Moving on.
That would be a yes, Chris. It is your fault. All right, what's next, Layanor?
I jumped into The Binding of Isaac. I have been playing that for about a week now.
A
couple hours every night.
The Binding of a Sack? Like they're binding a sack?
A sack.
I think that's Isaac.
It's not Isaac. I think it's Isaac.
Bill?
I'm quite certain that you'll find that's Isaac.
It can't be Isaac.
Spelling-wise, I-S-A-A-C, Isaac. I think you're doing it phonetically correct. I think, though, that it is called The Binding of Isaac.
Okay.
Just so you know, because I was wondering which sack we were going to be binding tonight.
If you go to... They actually say that in the intro, so yes. You guys are right.
If you go down to go downtown, find one of those buildings that has the big T in the front, walk in, and ask them how to pronounce it, and they'll tell you.
The big T?
Oh, the lowercase T?
Yeah, exactly.
I've always wanted to go into one of those.
Yeah, they'll tell you. They're usually pretty nice about it, too.
I'm confused.
Yeah?
Building with the T?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
What are you talking about? I feel... Oh.
I was going to say, the joke is going to just be ruined.
Oh,
I get it.
Okay, apparently we didn't ruin the joke for Chris, so we ruined it for everybody listening to the podcast. But...
Oh, man.
But as long as Chris is
dumb.
as long as Chris is laughing his face off, then I guess it works, right?
Man, I feel stupid. and all our podcast audience is going, Chris, you are stupid. Yeah, okay. I get it.
I could just see Chris's thing. What store or what restaurants is named Isaac? And
Lowercase T. I'm thinking like a lowercase T. What the heck?
Chris is just wandering the streets.
I was actually very fittingly thinking, what the hell? Which is
he's gonna be
fitting.
wandering into a T-Mobile or something. And...
Do you know much about Isaac at the T-Mobile store? Why, yes, Isaac's right over here. He's working at that. Oh, man.
Did you play anything else, Layanor?
I played 4 rounds of Hearthstone.
Just
Bill,
4?
What did you play this week?
Okay. So before we lose Chris again, I played Shadows of Mordor, and I think I am a little bit in love with Shadows of Mordor. It's hard. It's a very I haven't started a new game where the first 10 minutes were as difficult as Shadows of Mordor. For anyone who's actually played Shadows of Mordor already, like my very first fight where I fought anything, I had 4 lieutenants all attacking me at the same time. They just kept appearing over and over and over. And Chris can attest to the fact, because he was online when I was playing, that I kept dying over and over and over. And he was helpfully avenging my death over.
For you and your, like, and I'm talking to our listeners here, for your Steam friends list with Shadows of Mordor, and I'm going to guess that your, like, Xbox friends list and your PlayStation friends list, it links so that if Bill dies from, like, Goo Goo Giggles or whoever, the Uruk captain, it'll show up on mine as a mission that I can go kill Goo Goo Giggles, and I will avenge Bill, and it'll show up as a mission. It's so freaking awesome. When I first saw that, and really seriously, the name of the Uruk captain was something around the likes of Goo Goo Giggles or something.
It wasn't too far off from that, and really, I'm that good where I would probably die to Goo Goo Giggles the orc.
Yeah,
but anyway, really loving Shadows of Mordor. Just fun. I mean, I've played other brawlers like there's other brawler games out there, the Batman series and everything like that. Very good games in their own right, and I'm just a little bit more excited by Shadows of Mordor. So very cool. Yeah,
and as far as gameplay goes. And I'm going to jump in here because I played it too, and there's no point in us talking about Shadows of Mordor twice. I think that gameplay-wise, it scratches my MMO itch for what I want to do in-game, right? Mm-hmm. I can go around and just do mission after mission after mission, and it's set up in a semi-open world type of MMO-type world where you can go around and do stuff. Nowhere near the scope of most MMO games, but it scratches that itch of that MMO stuff that I really, really like. Go ahead.
Questing in a good way, quest grinding in a good way where you don't feel like you're missing out on anything other than anything else in the game, because that is the game. Yeah,
and the only thing that's missing to make this perfect let me rephrase that. This is not a complaint against Shadows of Mordor. I'm just scratching that MMO itch here, right? So this is not, by saying it's, the only thing not making it perfect, it's not talking about Shadows of Mordor. It's about scratching that MMO itch. Is gear game. There's really no gear game part of, there kind of is through upgrade, but it's very minimal. You're not going to get different outfits or gear or anything like that like visually, your character is not going to change very much. So that's really the only part of an MMO game, other than sort of the multiplayer stuff that I'm really missing. Other than that, this is like me going out and grinding in Lotro for a while with an amazing combat mechanics that I like. And I've just recently been playing Batman Arkham Origins, and so I find the combat in Shadows of Mordor very derivative of that, but better. It just clicks with me.
Just a little bit more interesting. Like I find it's again we're talking about apples and slightly redder apples, really.
Right.
But I just find it to be a little bit smoother, a little bit cooler, a little bit more like the moves seem to fit. fit combat a little bit better, and and again, this is not me ragging on the Batman series at all. It's just this is my jam. Yeah. As far as that kind of brawler combat when I'm comparing the two.
And if you do want to compare a little bit the actual mechanics, the only thing I really noticed that's actually that much difference is the when you react to someone else's attack is a little bit quicker and a little bit more fluid in Shadows of Mordor than it is in Batman. In Batman, there's a lot less of a window for you to react. It's much harder to get that done right. Where Shadows of Mordor, it's awesome. And I think they did it that way to let the animations flow better for that, especially with the sword instead of just fists, right? So I'm really enjoying that. And I'm to the point now where I think I'm in tier 4 of the powers that you can get. And so I can lay waste to some really awesome stuff. Look up how to run your combo across the entire world. There's somebody who got their combos up to 400 and something. I think 412.
Oh my!
Which I am impressed when I get up to like 40 or 50. And I can do that fairly regularly if I've got a big group there and I'm doing well. It's challenging. It's fun. The story is interesting. I cannot we're both playing on PC. Haven't played it on console at all, so I can't talk about those. But on PC, highly, 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 highly recommend. I've got a first report series coming up on it, so you'll be able to see a little bit more of my gameplay and thoughts on the game soon. TM. Sorry, Bill. Please continue.
That's fine. So that was the first game that I played. Played a lot of Guild Wars 2. I ran my engineer up to level 80 in Guild Wars 2, so that's my second 80. Only second 80, but I've got a whole mess of other alts as well. But so still really liking Guild Wars 2 as my jump in and play for 20 minutes. There's not many other games I have that are better than Guild Wars 2 for that. So if you're back to school, or if you're working and you got short days and everything, and you're looking for an MMO just for that quick itch to scratch, I still recommend Guild Wars 2. We'll talk about this a little bit later in the show, but I jumped back into Dark Age of Camelot actually. And holy cow, what a nostalgia trip that was. That was so cool. I don't think I even killed anything. I think I just ran around, messed around with my stats, and no, seriously. And I listened to the music, and it was like, oh, that's 13 years ago. That's so cool. And then I realized, holy cow, that was 13 years ago. I'm so old, but yeah, so there you go. I aged. I played a little bit of Token Civ. I played Civ. Get this. I played Civ for 10 turns, and then I quit.
No, you did not.
And it was not even a rage quit. Nobody attacked me. I had something else I had to do, and I just quit.
I have a hard time believing that.
I was a little bit impressed with myself as well. I have to say the self-control there. So I won. I actually got a badge for it. Self-control. No, I didn't.
Were you hungry?
They should have a badge for that.
Did you go get food? Is that what did it?
Oh, food is not a reason to quit playing Civ. Don't be silly.
Yeah, and did you ever pick up Civ 4, was it? Layanor, you were talking last episode about thinking of picking up, was it Civ 4 or something else?
Yes, it was Civ 4. I didn't pick it up again because the game still kind of confuses me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There you go. I guess that's that. Next.
End of story.
Played a little bit of Hearthstone, earned all the classes in Hearthstone. I'm starting to build a deck there. So,
oh, cool.
I actually, it was exactly what you described there, Chris. I'd started playing SoulForge, and I launched the game, and I thought, I don't want to play this. I want to play Hearthstone. And I actually jumped out and played Hearthstone and liked it. So there you go.
That's awesome.
I did a quick session of ArcheAge. I want to keep calling it ArcheAge.
ArcheAge.
Okay. ArcheAge, just a quick session to create a character and everything. Actually, this was back when they were still like the servers were still completely pinned and everything, and it was still quite difficult to get in. But I did, and I ran around, and it was cool. I was too overwhelmed. I got a little bit shy, and I quit. But I have played ArcheAge, so I have that off my bucket list now. And finally, this is only interesting to certain types of geeks like me. I actually played Windows 10. I installed it on a Surface Pro at work, and I've been messing around in that. And so far I think I'd like it. I am okay with Windows 10.
Now, did you create yourself a Metro-like start menu with all your games?
No, I haven't put games on it or anything like that. Windows 10, just so anyone who's thinking about it out there, it is a tech preview right now, and Microsoft has a lot of forced data collection going on there. They're doing a lot of there's people who were getting kind of all privacy cranky about it because there's like almost like keylogger behavior that they claim is for autocorrect type correction and that kind of thing. But it's also quite clearly spelled out in that EULA that nobody ever reads and that kind of thing. So it's not like they snuck it in there. But if you're looking for something out there, don't install Windows 10 on your primary machine. Don't use it as your main machine. Don't use it for anything that you've got like sensitive data on or your account information or anything like that. It's kind of unfortunate, but you are throwing a lot of information up to unless you're completely fine giving all that information to Microsoft, that's fine. But it's meant for beta testing, and you want to be a little bit careful with it. That said, if you want to get an early run at what the new system's going to be like, including the start menu and that kind of thing, it was actually kind of fun and pretty easy to do. And I think you can, if you do a Google search for Windows 10 tech preview, then you'll get an ISO and some instructions on how to get it set up. So anyway, Windows 10 so far, okay.
Nice.
7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, it's
waka,
not bad.
Waka. Out of 10, get it? Chris, did you play anything?
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to figure out your joke. Yeah, I did. Even after suffering through the panel that was the Destiny panel at PAX, I've been playing Destiny. And I've been really enjoying it. I think I'm level 12 or 13 out of a total level 30. And it's really, really fun. And I'm having, I think, more fun than Harry was with the single-player part of it. I haven't really teamed up at all, even a bit. And I've been really enjoying going through the single-player story. I'm invested. I totally, and this bugs me to no end, but I unfortunately think it is... I unfortunately think it is the... How can I word this? It is unfortunately what future games are going to be like with the way DLC is nowadays. And that is that I can see all the little hooks that they put in for future DLC. Every time we go through stuff, it's like, and this meme has gone around the internet. I could tell you about the time that there was this great battle, but I won't. I could tell you there's the speaker in sort of the tower that you go to. And, he has this speech where he says 4 or 5 things. I could tell you about this. I could tell you about that. And then he doesn't tell you about anything. What is the freaking point? So that bugs me. That where I can see where they have, instead of just making a game, they have made a Destiny. Get it? Anyways, they've made a platform that future content will come out on. And that bugs me.
Yeah, but to be fair, I don't think that should be a big surprise because this is Bungie really kind of stepping into their own world. This is a non-Microsoft published game and everything like that. They're kind of venturing out and they're trying to rebuild a franchise for themselves, and they're not doing that by their typical method or what they've done in the past by building Halo and a first game and then building Halo 2 and sequels and that kind of thing. They have a game on their hands right now that they think they can run for 15 years with content and updates and expansions and stuff like that. So it doesn't surprise me that we're starting with a platform, or they're starting with a platform.
It doesn't.
But it's not interesting to me, though.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't surprise me either. But it does suck being able to see that. If they had done a great job with it and you couldn't see it coming, you like. Here's the thing. I play through Diablo 3 and I feel like I have completed a game. I am happy with that. This is a nice, neat package. But hey, look, that expansion, I really enjoyed that too.
Yeah.
And they were able to do that. It feels lazy by Bungie to do it in this way. So that's frustrating. But I haven't done any PvP. I've only been doing single player story, and I've been having a blast. So I feel that I got my money's worth.
Good.
Been finishing leveling up my warrior in Rift, getting ready for the Nightmare Tide expansion, which we'll talk about in a little while. Mentioned Batman Arkham Origins, which is really cool. And I also recorded an interview with Jeff Kurtenacker, the composer for Wildstar, and had an amazing conversation with him. I was holding it for a little bit because we were looking at doing something together for the release, but I'll be releasing that in the next few days because they've given me the go-ahead to go ahead and release that. So really, it was probably one of the most interesting and fun interviews I've ever done. It was, any music geeks out there will absolutely love it because we geek out a lot. So if you like the music of Wildstar, if you like Wildstar, if you just like talking about music, this is going to be an interview for you. So that's going to be coming up.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. But most importantly, I'm excited about the news that's coming up. So let's move over to that. Speaking of Wildstar, there was a provocatively titled story over on Massively titled How to Save Wildstar, if it needs saving. It's I think the title is inflammatory on purpose to start discussion, and I think that it did just that. They talk about the fact that there have been lots of issues with the game, the slowing down of content to quarters from monthly after the first drop. Rift got at least like 3 out before they slowed down. A lot of people leaving. The combat lead left, Stephen Frost, who was for many people the face of Wildstar. He was the voice of DevSpeak. So that's going to be interesting if they continue that video series, how they're going to go with that. And Jeremy Gaffney, the lead producer, or not the lead producer, the president of the company, they all left. So yeah, that's interesting. Now, I this is the first time I think I've ever actually been able to say this. I do have a source that has said that none of this has been like an FU carbine, we're getting out of here, heading out of Dodge. This has all just been different opportunities that have come up, and Gaffney was very clear about his reasons for leaving, so that was something different. But yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Oh, they're canceling holiday content, which for MMOs, even crappy holiday content is a big deal, right? And so it's just absolutely astounding to have all this stuff going on. But it's not. I don't think that Wildstar is failing. I don't think Wildstar failed as a launch. I think there's issues, absolutely. I think that people's expectations of Wildstar, which were not helped by the way in which they marketed the game, were not necessarily in line with what the game ended up being. Bill, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, I want to temper this a little bit because I've come down a little bit hard on Wildstar in the past. And I think a lot of that has actually been to kind of tease Chris a little bit. So throwing that little editorial out there and everything. I actually, while okay, if in my own opinion, Wildstar is a decent game. It's got issues just like a million other games and everything like that. I don't see it as a world beater, but I don't see it as a bad game either. Now, they're struggling. I agree with you, Chris. I think they kind of sold the game as a slightly different thing than it actually is. They really sold it hard as an end game type game, raid content type game. And that's as like the end all and be all of that category of game. They were going to try to set new bars, and I don't think they've done anything really special there. From what I've read and I've seen, and I've talked to a lot of people who are in that kind of rating level, there's nothing new and nothing incredible there. And unfortunately, by kind of selling themselves as being the new bar in that area where they're just kind of okay, it really, people ignored all the other aspects of the game. They ignored the casual parts, which is actually like kind of really clever housing system. They ignored kind of the story part of it. I actually kind of like the storylines that they've built up within Wildstar and that kind of thing. There's a lot of good pieces that got undersold because they were focusing on that one bit. So I think that's a miss that really happened with Wildstar. Sadly, I think the subscription choice was a miss as well. I just don't see how subscription games work anymore, especially from a company like NCSoft, which presumably, or NCSoft Publishing, presumably they realized that there was some success coming out of sell the box kind of model. I'm surprised that they didn't do that with Wildstar as well and try to replicate that.
Okay, here's the thing. It felt so freaking nice to be in Wildstar and not have to worry about a gem store and not have to have all sorts of stuff being thrown in your face about any sort of store or anything like that. That was such a breath of fresh air. I would happily pay a subscription for that. And I hope that more games try and succeed with that model, because Wildstar, to me, showed me how much I miss that.
I don't entirely disagree with that either, but I'm feeling very pessimistic about that right now, in that I don't think that there's enough people that actually care about ignoring ads and ignoring that constant sales target that you become when you play a game. I don't think people care about that as much as well. Certainly you do, and I think I do as well. Like, I don't like being an ad target either, but I think it's the world that we live in. I think World of Warcraft was this weird lightning in a bottle thing that was the right game, the right time, and I think there's still people that think that can be recreated, and I don't think it can. I think that's old tech, old model, and I don't really think it can work anymore.
But there's got to be some type of game that will be able to get enough players that a subscription will be valid, even if it's a smaller game, a niche game. Maybe Wildstar is going to become that and be a niche game in the end. And
I think you're talking about Eve right now. And again, nobody's made an Eve since, like, when did Eve come out? Was that 2006?
Right.
So it
doesn't stop me from longing for it and realizing that Wildstar showed me how much I missed having that, and ESO too. Yep. Right? And neither of them is free to play yet, which you heard the amazingly trollish comments before launch for both. 3 months till free to play.
Yep.
Anyways.
That I don't think that needs to be an indictment of a failure either, too, because I think that's the landscape. I think to say that you're not going free to play or a game won't go free to play, from a company side, that's probably arrogance, and from a fan side or a critic side, it's ignorant, because that's the landscape we live in now. There's too many games, there's too much choice, to ignore the wedge you can create for yourself by getting your product out there for free.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's the landscape it is. Maybe the landscape changes in 5-10 years. I don't know. But I don't see that changing in 2015, for example.
Yeah. So I think we probably will see Wildstar go free to play within the next year. I am personally rooting and hoping that it does not, because I would happily continue to pay a subscription for that game.
I would love to see them pull something clever and unique and a way to kind of market their game that garners attention, carves out a niche for them big enough to actually produce the production that they want to do, without creating that constant gem store type environment, or that constant customer kind of environment.
Yeah. Layanor, any thoughts? I mean, you played Wildstar at launch and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on all this?
I was reading a lot of the comments that...
Okay, well, hold on. Sorry, I'm going to call you back because you are part Cylon. Hold on. That was very interesting. Let's see if he's any better this time. Have the Cylons left?
Hello?
They haven't, but that's okay. Okay, keep going.
Okay. I was reading a lot of the Massively article where they had a lot of the writers answer the question, what is Wildstar dying, and is it worth saving? And I kept seeing the same thing over and over and over, where Wildstar really, really pushed for the hardcore raiders, and people want more than that. They want an actual world to go out and explore in. And I kind of feel the same way when I was going through the game. It just kind of felt like, okay, go to this area, go to this area, go to this area. There wasn't anything like... for like other games, even ArcheAge, when I was playing that, there was a festival area. There was a game with area with bonus games where you can, it was like a whack-a-mole thing that I found accidentally. But that was accidental stuff, like, wow, if you explore a little bit, you can find things. In this game, it just seemed very, very forward, like you need to level.
That's interesting. Whose phone was that?
It's Dio. Oh, give me a second.
Yeah. Everybody rock out. Woo. Anyway.
Why is this? I don't understand. This is going to go off again. I'm going to throw it away.
But here's the thing. There are tons of hidden things in Wildstar. And what is the game not doing well enough to lead players to those areas? Or is it just that players were so focused on and sorry, that sounds like I'm blaming the players. I'm not. What's the game doing that it's not encouraging that exploration as much as ArcheAge is? ArcheAge very much feels like Lotro, cheating on. I feel like I'm cheating on Lotro when I play ArcheAge with the newer, younger model.
Yep, same thing. Where are the hangout areas in Wildstar?
In mostly down by the auction house, sort of for the Exiles at least. I don't know for the other team. Down on the where is it? The auction house, sort of the left when you go in off the boats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's the hangout area.
Okay. Yeah, because I didn't even know where that was. Just going through all the areas, I'm like, where is the hub? Where is everybody looking for quests and raids and stuff like that? I was like, well, where do I go? Anyway, back on topic. I don't think the game is dying at all. They did pull in a lot of cash. Like the launch, I thought was pretty huge, and for them to actually stop and cancel the Halloween and Christmas content, it just tells me that they're going to take the resources that they have and start focusing on the things that people are saying that they don't have, and start putting stuff out towards that. I don't think that I don't even think that they're going to be going free to play in a while. I think they have enough cash to actually put more content into the game that people are asking for, and if that doesn't work, then they will probably maybe go free to play.
Yeah, sorry, I was fiddling with microphones again. And I did make your mic sound a little bit better.
Yay!
But yeah, I think it's such a good game. I'm so disappointed, but it was buggy as hell.
Yeah, it deserves better than the slagging that it's getting right now. Like, again, I was doing it mainly out of fun to tease Chris, but ultimately it is actually a decent game. It doesn't deserve to be talked about in the context that it's dying or that it's being run into the ground, because I don't think that's true either, too. I think it's not doing... I think actually it's a little bit of hubris. I think a lot of people took the marketing that came with Wildstar about how they're going to take it had a kind of a very cocky veneer to it, and I think a lot of people took that to heart and took that personally, which is unfortunate because it's a friggin' commercial. Come on. They're supposed to brag up their product. Apparently they did just slightly too good of a job at it, and I think it actually built up a little bit of a chip on the shoulder of people who actually wanted it to fail.
Oh, but here's the thing. Every single game that comes out now, people want it to fail. And don't just want it to fail a little bit. They want it to flame out spectacularly. And there are people whose entire enjoyment of MMOs is playing a game just to watch it fail. That is a thing.
And Massively did do an opinion piece on that as well, too. I wish I could remember who wrote it. I'm sorry, Mr. or Mrs. Massively.
I think, was it Justin?
Oh, it might have been. I can't remember. Anyway, it was actually an interesting look, and because it is. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who, if a game is not their game, it's like it's the enemy. Like that somehow it's encroaching upon the fun that they have in other games just by existing, and that's just such a. It's a flawed way to look at it, because ultimately every good MMO that's on the market makes every other good MMO a little bit better. Because if you've got one good MMO on the market, there's only one company on the planet that's even a little bit interested in trying hard. And even then, it's only just trying hard enough to keep what they have. If you have 10 good MMOs on the market, they're going to be working so hard to try to get the leg up on the next one or on all of their competitors. And there's going to be a million more aiming for what those 10 are already doing. So the more good games that are out there, the better. So that attitude of, oh, I hope that dies or I hope it fails, that sucks, I don't want it to be there, it's flawed.
Yeah.
And I realize I was a little bit hard on Elder Scrolls Online too, but that's because
but Elder Scrolls
a single player
launched
game
with issues.
That's a different thing.
Yeah.
That's a different issue.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. All right, Layanor, let's move this conversation along. You've got some cool stuff from Rowan in Lotro.
Yep. The producer's letter came out for October, and it's short and sweet. And he talks about the update 15 coming out, and we're going to be moving into the center of Gondor. There is going to be one new epic battle, and there's going to be I just read that right there. Dang it.
I'm
going to skip that and come back to that in a second.
I just want to say one quick thing. Wow, more epic battles. They weren't sure if they were gonna do more.
Yes, they are going to do one more, which is in the harbor area that was in the western Gondor, and it should look fantastic because there should be ships and stuff coming in from the ocean. And soldiers coming in and attacking and stuff, and you'll have your siege weapons, and you'll have all of the extra soldiers and all that ready to go. It should look fantastic. So we're really, really hoping to see something of that soon.
The interesting thing, sorry, just to jump in there, the interesting point that Rowan made about that too is that the pacing of the battle is, I think, meant to be fairly slow. That you can actually you actually can proceed slowly if you want. You can just rip through it or anything like that. But you're not. It's not like a timed thing where you've got to meet a deadline or anything like that. Which is actually, I don't know. It's a kind of an interesting take on that. I think.
Yeah.
Or an interesting take on the whole epic battle system, because it always felt fairly rushed when it first came out, and that's where most of my experience is with the epic battles. It was kind of a rushed thing. If you didn't have a very clear XYZ, this is what I have to accomplish, you could almost feel a little bit panicked for it. And if it kind of shakes out as being a more methodical thing that you can plan out and be tactical with, then maybe that could be maybe that's the secret sauce for that kind of battle.
Does anyone else feel like the march towards Gondor has increased in pace as towards Mordor, really, I guess, has increased in pace in the last little while?
Yes.
Thank you. This is and they need to, because at the pace they were going, it was going to be in the 2020s before they ever even broached Mordor. And ultimately, it would be irrelevant and kind of sad that the game doesn't get to show off there, because I think once you hit 2022, Lord of the Rings Online is going to be ancient, and there's going to be a zillion other things, and it's going to be really hard for it to have a significant player base. I hate to sound a little bit pessimistic, but come on, we're talking about a game that would be, how old is it going to be then? 17 years old or something like that?
Yeah.
So anyway, they need to rip through this a little bit further, because this is a game that I really want to see some conclusion with. I know you don't. It's not like you're going to finish Lord of the Rings Online, but to go into Mordor and be part of the battle in Mordor is an important milestone for Lord of the Rings Online to hit in its functional lifetime.
I've been to the Shadows of Mordor.
Yes, that's you're going in the wrong direction on the timeline there, Chris. But thanks.
Yeah, I know. It does need to move, but it feels to. This is going to sound so dumb, and I understand how dumb I sound when I say this, but there's a little part of me that is unhappy about this, because the closer they get to all that stuff means the closer to the quote-unquote end of Lord of the Rings Online. Because at some point, Tolkien Enterprises is not going to renew the license. They're going to decide that they want a new Lotro MMO or no more Lotro MMO, and this is going to end. And that's every step closer they get to the quote-unquote end of the journey is a step closer to the end of the game.
Right.
Yeah, that is dumb, Chris. You were right.
Layanor, you were saying, because you didn't call me dumb, so you get to talk.
They have talked about that before. It's not really necessarily the end of Lotro. They can actually go further past that. They can go into the area of the east in the rune where Tolkien says, the men of the east came on elephants, and we have that whole area to explore, and it's actually on our map now. They condensed all of the areas and cleared the fat, basically, of areas that they weren't going to be doing, and that's on the map. So we should be going into that area. And there are other things that they can do too. So they have said that once we get to Mordor and throw the ring in, there will be even more stuff after that.
Wow.
That it is already on the roadmap.
I think they have to have a quest before the game ends where we get to board a ship and we get to sail west. Don't you think?
I could see that. Like, session play or something like that.
Session play. Or no, our characters are heroes. They would be welcome on those ships.
They would be welcome on those ships, but it's like it's bad over there. You can't really go over there. You want me to tell you why?
No, I don't. Because Frodo and Bilbo are over there, and Gandalf, and things are good and happy, and
if you sail to the west, you can't come back. That's like deleting your character.
And I think that's what it should be. You do that quest, you're done. You're walking away from the game. That's the last thing you ever do in Lotro. Done. your character is locked. You can never play it again. It's there on your character screen to make you cry every time, but you can never play it again.
Or you can only play it in the session play where you get on the ship and
you're just in the middle of the ocean looking at the seagulls.
Yeah.
And that's it. I would totally go for that. Don't you think that would be like for all those role players that have invested their life, and there are so many, and we've met so many of them at our meetups and stuff, of people who see Lord of the Rings online. It's not the way I play the game. I play a game, but they inhabit the world, right? And all that stuff that happens. For them, that would be the ultimate end, right? Your character that goes off to the Grey Haven, and bye-bye, so long on a ship. We'll all cry. Merry and Pippin will be there, and they can cry.
If a character would end like that, or like if the game would finally end in that way, that would be great, and I think that would be much, much better than hitting the world with a comet.
Although that worked for Asheron's Call.
Yeah.
So still coming in 2015, Osgiliath and Minas Tirith. That's next year. Wow.
And one thing I skipped over here because it was very cool, they're actually adding a new race and class, I guess you should say too, the Bjorn class. So you could change into a bear and battle stuff.
I know they teased that, right? Is that what you're talking about on Twitter? That tweet tease?
Mm-hmm. Well, they announced it quite a while ago.
Yeah.
And, they were trying to iron out the class where it would be kind of mage or fighter or a mixture of whatever. So I think that they pretty much ironed it all out, and it's going to be up on Bullroarer at some time for everybody to test.
So it's a class, not a race. Like it's not a race class comment. So you can have an elf Bjorning and a dwarf Bjorning and a
No. In the beginning, that they said that it was going to be a class for man only. Now it seems like it's going to be a race that just plays on its own.
Okay.
On its own class. It can't be a warden. It can't be a mage. It can't be anything like that. It can only be Bjorning.
So
the Bjorning is live on Bullroarer tomorrow, October 10th. That's in the letter that Aaron Campbell sent out.
There we go.
There you go.
So there is. It's not in the future. There's a date. Mark it on your calendars.
And there was one key thing. Anybody that played Lotro were really, really happy that legendary items were going to be basically static. You could buy an item, I don't know from where, Turbine Store or in-game or whatever, but what it would do was if another update came where you could raise your character another 5 or 10 levels, you could make your legendary weapon jump that many levels as well. And
cool.
So they're making it so this thing does actually level with you and grow with you.
Nice.
Unfortunately, it's being pushed back to update 16.
Oh, in 2015.
2015, yeah.
Yeah. Gwathel in the chat room reminded me that this Bjorning is going to be cool, but it's no end play.
It's bear play.
Because we had end play.
It's not what I wanted.
What?
I wanted the sacking of the frickin' why can't I think of the name right now? It's Saruman's tower.
Oh, you wanted that battle. Okay.
Yeah. I wanted some freaking hobbits on my shoulders throwing some rocks.
Did you hit the jump button when you were in Ent?
I did. I jumped. Or not. I don't remember. No. I don't know.
You probably didn't, because Ent's jumping looks really silly.
Well, that's good.
There
you
you go.
need some silliness. All right, before we move on to the next bit, just want to mention our sponsor, GoDaddy. GoDaddy is super cool. We've been with them since before they were a sponsor. In fact, when I went to our self-hosted blogs, I went straight to GoDaddy, and we've got a killer deal and a killer hosting service because they're just fantastic. We've had pretty much every problem that we've ever had on the site has been caused by me, not by our hosting. And I'm really impressed. You know, every time we get a really big spike in bandwidth usage and, you know, we bump up a couple terabytes or something like that a month of use, they handle it no problem. So I can really recommend GoDaddy for anything that you want because they've done really, really well by us. And now they're our sponsor, which is fantastic. So a couple different codes that you can use over there. You can use MMO30 for 30% off your entire order. So make a big order. Use that coupon code. You get 30% off your entire order. Or they've got a new one here, which is MMO149. And for that, you are going to get yourself a $1.49 domain. So you want to go check that out because I really like GoDaddy. They are fantastic to sponsor us. So MMO30, where you get a 30% off your order, or a MMO149 for your $1.49.com. So go check it out. Now let's move on to the next part of the news.
So we talked about this off the top of the show, and Dark Age of Camelot, just to jump right into it, is for their 13th anniversary is offering 13 free days for anyone who's ever had a Dark Age of Camelot account. Now, for someone like me that hasn't played it in many, many, many years, it might be a little bit tricky to try to remember what your username is and how to deal with the transition over to EA's stupid Origin accounts and all the schmozzle that got with that. But if you can gather up all your login info and the email account that you used when you played and everything like that, you can reactivate your account. We'll have a link in the show notes to the post that explains how. But long and short, you're reactivating your account. You do have to put in a credit card for this, and I almost gave up when that happened, but I looked into it a little bit further, and you don't actually have to pay. In order to get your 13 free days, you actually have to sign up for a subscription. But if you cancel your subscription while you're still inside those 13 days, you don't actually get charged. So it is free. It is 13 free days. So I did do that. The client is an amazing 350 megabytes. Now think about that. When was the last time you played an MMO that was ready to go at 350 megabytes?
Wow.
That's like Ragnarok for me. That's years and years and years ago.
So anyway, it was very cool. It was so cool to jump back in. If you've got any nostalgia around it, the music, you've got all access to all the expansions that have come through in those 13 within 13 years. So for me, I left during the Trials of Atlantis, but if you jump in, and there was a couple expansions that came after that, including some Minotaur one that I don't remember, but it was there and available to me. So anyway, very cool. The realm versus realm combat was actually quite active. For the sessions that I played, there were forts dropping left and right and everything. It was really cool. So
did you play Thane?
No, I played my scout. My completely OP scout.
That's absolutely useless.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear about your scout. I just want to hear about Thanes.
Well, hey, there's a solution for you, Chris.
Remember that discussion over at the beginning of the show about time and things we want to play versus things we will play?
Like I said, delete your icons. You'll be fine. With a blank desktop, you could play Dark Age of Camelot.
No, because I wouldn't have a Dark Age of Camelot icon.
Well, you just download it. Then you'd have one.
You don't have one now.
That's true. It's problem solved. All right, moving on.
Anyway.
We had a little bit of a delay over at Tryon Worlds with Nightmare Tide, the expansion for Rift, being delayed until October 22nd. Originally scheduled to launch on October 8th. That's yesterday as of our recording date here. It was delayed by 2 weeks until the 22nd. On the 2nd of October, only 6 days before it was supposed to launch, they're like, you know what? We're happy to announce it'll be launching on the 22nd. not
The beta's
the
being extended.
Yeah, beta is extended. Bonus. And I know what they're, trying to frame it in the positive light and all that sort of stuff. And the community is completely split on this, with a lot of people saying, hey, happy to wait for a polished release. Other people saying, I mean, seriously, you've been planning this for a while. It was ready enough that you released the souls that were supposed to come with it months ago, but we're still and people took time off. And, the fact, I think a big issue that a lot of people had was the fact that they left it so late. There are people who take days off from work to make expansion dates and be able to play and be able to go through that. And by announcing it 6 days before, that's too late to change holidays, right? And change days off for most workplaces. And I think that's the issue. If they had come up at the beginning of September and said, hey, guess what? We're going to bump it a couple of weeks. And I think that's more the issue, the amount of time from when they announced it to when they were going to do it. And I can't imagine that meeting, how that would have gone, and the arguments that probably went back and forth in that meeting of launching as it's going to be 6 days later from when they made the decision, or the fallout from waiting 2 weeks. Layanor, do you think this is a pretty big deal, or are the people who aren't happy with this really not understanding that it's more important to have a polished release?
I think it's more important to have a polished release, and to speak from the Lotro community, where our expansion gets pushed back like a month or 2 months.
Yeah.
2 weeks isn't that bad, guys. Seriously.
Well, yeah, and what do you think about the amount of notice that they got about how, when it was from between the announcement of the bump to the original release date?
Yeah, that probably should have been announced like a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Bill, what do you think?
That's a bit cutting it close.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's exactly that. I mean, there's people that plan for that date. It's tough to bump it this late. I mean, I can appreciate not wanting to release anything broken or unfinished, and I have a feeling if they were going to bump it at this late a date, there must have been something like utterly game breaking that they came across. So
right.
In that context, maybe it's okay, but yeah, it's a bit tough to swallow this late in the game.
Yeah, there are fans of the game that have already lied to work that they weren't going to be in.
Yeah. So there you go. Sorry, and of course I'm distracted again and doing my typical non-answer. I personally, for me, I'm not that upset with it. I'd rather have a polished game, but I feel bad. I totally feel bad for the people who took time off work and stuff like that. So anyways.
Right.
All right. Next story. Bill, are you going to talk about this, or am I?
I can just a quick mention here too. Extra Life season is coming. The MMO Reporter has created the MMO Reporter team. We'll have a link to that in the show notes, and we are going to be playing. I believe we've mentioned this before, but we are going to be creating Chua characters in Wildstar to play for our 24-hour Extra Life marathon. Chris and I are both going to be accepting donations for on behalf of the BC Children's Hospital as part of the Children's Miracle Network that Extra Life supports. So great causes there. Layanor is going to be joining us as well, and he's going to be collecting donations on behalf of the Milwaukee Children's Hospital. Very cool. Thank you, Layanor. But yeah, check it out. Check out our team page there. If you're inspired to sponsor us, that would be fantastic. If you're inspired to join us, that's also fantastic. We're excited to get a big mass of Chewy goodness. I was really going to go with Chewy goodness, but I bailed at the last second.
It was fun last year to have the Asura roaming across Guild Wars 2, and we all made Mesmers, so that was that. We're not having any sort of class suggestions or anything like that this time. I will say I'm making an Esper, though.
The best moment the best moments all happen at that 4 a.m. when it really starts to hurt. It is really easy to do Extra Life at like 8 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night, and you've been playing for
12
7 hours or 8 hours or 12 hours or whatever it is. That's the easy part. When you're going at 4 a.m. and 5 a.m., those are the real moments where you're actually working a little bit for charity, because as much as it's fun, it's silly, and it's difficult at that time of day.
Yeah, emotions are high at that point.
I think it was karaoke last year, wasn't it?
Oh,
At
I
that
don't
point?
even know.
We touched on that a little bit, yes.
Yeah. And Bill, we're going to have a couple of events leading up to this. On the 16th, Thursday, October 16th, I'm going to be live streaming my Chua creation and running through the tutorial. I will take any suggestion that the chat room gives me as to creating my Chua, so I can make the derpiest of derpy Chuas that the chat room wants me to. I will follow the votes 100%. So if you want to be a part of that, it'll be probably 8:30 Pacific on October 16th. And you can come and check out if you've got some thoughts on how colors of hair or size of teeth or anything like that. Feel free to tweet it at us as well, and I'll take that into account when I'm making my character. Bill, you're going to create something as well. Do you have a date picked yet, or are you just going to tweet that out when you get closer?
Don't have a date. I will share it when we're ready to go through that.
Okay, and Layanor, are you going to do the same thing? Will you let the community pick your Chua?
I'm going to have to see if I can make a time. I have made a Chua though, but I'll gladly delete them. So yeah, let me find a time.
Perfect. We'll tweet that out and all that sort of stuff.
Awesome.
So that's Extra Life. That'll be taking place October 25th. Please check out our page. We'll have it linked on our show notes. I've been tweeting stuff out all week about it. Check out our team page. You can either join our page or you can donate to someone on the team. All this money is going to these children's hospitals. I know personally for me, BC Children's Hospitals have played a big part in my family's life, both with my wife, with Selenia, and with our kids who benefited from their care. So please take the time, if you can, check out our team page and donate, or donate to someone else, or set up your own and get some donations for your neighborhood children's hospital. All right, sponsors, Patreon, of course. Our Patreon page, all our fantastic patrons there at patreon.com/MMO Reporter. We are I believe it is $32 away from releasing our song. So a few more patrons and we will get there quick. We've got a song all recorded, ready to go, ready to be released. It is a collaboration between myself and Mr. Harry Hall, and we're really excited about releasing that. So get going on those Patreon donations, and thanks to everyone who already has. And of course, Doghouse Systems. Go to doghousesystems.com and use the coupon code MMO Reporter to double your RAM. Before we get to the contact info here, I want to say a really quick and cool story about a listener. And this has to do with my day job and the fact that we're going to be setting up an exchange. I won't say the locations because I don't want to give anything away, but we'll be doing an exchange with a listener who is a music teacher. We'll be visiting his school. He'll be visiting our school, and it'll be a lot of fun. So that all came out of this podcast, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I think it's exciting. So, Bill, if people want to get a hold of us, what are the ways that they can do that?
Well, they can head over to www.mmoreporter.com to visit the website and the main hub of the entire MMO Reporter network for this podcast and many others. You can send us an email to mmo.reporter@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/MMO-reporter. You can tweet at any of the MMO Reporters at MMO_reporter for Chris, at Harry Hall for, believe it or not, Harry Hall, at Layanor for Layanor, and at MMO Bill for yours truly. You can give us a call at 616-666-6778 or click the widget on the right side of MMOReporter.com. And finally, you can check us out over at youtube.com/user/MMO Reporter Network for all of our videos and our PAX coverage. That feels so long ago now, but it did happen, and it was all very cool. Finally, patreon.com/MMO Reporter if you are at all interested in giving us a little bit of incentive to keep going, and like Chris said, get that song out into the open.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys, for a fantastic show. Thank you, Layanor. As always, it's a pleasure to have you and your minions participate.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think I ate like 7 candy bars during the whole show.
Nice. Very, very, I don't know what to say.
4,
Bill,
5, 6, 7, 8,
please
9,
save me.
10.
I double checked, and yes, you're still on with that whole 10 episodes thing until 200. I think I'm fairly confident with that.
All right. Well, thanks, Bill, for that and for a fantastic show.
Oh, my pleasure.
And thanks to everyone in our chat room tonight. We've had a lot of fun chatting with everyone in there, including all the streaming issues that we've had. But hey, it happens. Thanks to everyone who downloaded the podcast and who continues to download it week after week. We really appreciate it. We hope that you download it again next week. But most importantly, we hope to see you in game.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at.
Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOReporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOReporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.